Here's how to scale your tax lien and deed business past the $1 million mark. So, when you're starting off with tax liens and deeds, definitely the end goal of this business is to obviously create wealth for yourself and for your family. Now, you may want to create residual income. You may want to buy rentals. You may want to be buying lots of properties up to 90% below market value, or you just want to be earning that 18 to 36% interest passively with tax lien certificates. Now, at some point in the game, you're going to want to probably scale this business, and that is the name of the game and what we're going to chat about here today. So let's buckle up. Before we continue, if you're new to the channel and you want to learn about tax liens and deeds, make sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Thumbs up if you like the video. It definitely helps the channel, and make sure you see these videos on a regular basis. So when you're first starting out with tax liens and deeds, the most important thing in the beginning is to get a confident knowledge of this stuff for yourself. So basically that conscious competency is very important. And basically there's the 3 stages of learning, right? Or maybe there are 4. There's the unconscious incompetent, which means you're unaware of how incompetent you are. The next step is you're basically consciously incompetent, which means you're aware of the fact that you don't really know much about this business. And then the next step is what we would call consciously competent. So what that means is you know the business, you know the name of the game, you're getting better at it. And then once you get through kind of the variables in this business, kind of like when you're driving your car, you're basically unconsciously competent, right? You're driving the car, you're eating a cheeseburger, you're wiping your nose, maybe you're putting on some makeup. But the bottom line is that you've ingrained this because you've been through situations enough. So the very first step is to get comfortable and confident with this business. So that doesn't mean you've been to one sale or, you've researched a couple properties. Generally, what that's going to mean is you've done this hundreds of times, right? Like we've been all over the US, have bought hundreds of these properties. And what I can tell you is at first, it's definitely going to be a bit clunky. You're going to be questioning yourself. You're going to worry if you're making a mistake. And that's all totally normal, right? It's like anything. And once again, if this were an easy business, everybody would do it. So you do need to learn the basics and the fundamentals. However, this video is about growing and scaling, and I want to kind of paint that path for you on what that looks like. So when you're wanting to scale the business, one of the biggest bottlenecks that you're going to face is kind of data research, right? Because with tax liens and deeds, you need to research a lot of property. You need to do a lot of title searches because you have to do that stuff yourself. Now, the reason we're able to buy these properties so cheap is the fact that we do put in some elbow grease. Now, when you're buying property traditionally, whether it's through Zillow or the title company or through the real estate agent, a lot of the hard work is being done for you because the title company is going to research that title. And it's very rare you're going to get into something that you have some big, red flags, right? Because traditional real estate, you got the title company, you have an inspector, you can get the property inspected. Now with tax liens or especially tax deeds, they're a little higher risk because generally you can't see inside the property and you have to do your own title research. So for some, that might be scary, but for others who want to make some money, that's just kind of the educated risk that we go ahead and we take in this business. But we go and we minimize that risk by being sophisticated and being smart about the business. And with the tax deeds, having the opportunity to buy property up to 90% off, you're always going to factor that into your budget. So like if you're looking at a tax deed property and you can't see inside of it and maybe it's boarded up, you always want to budget in a full rehab. So, excuse me, if houses are selling in the area for 200 grand and there's a property that's boarded up, and it's 1,000 square feet. These days, you could probably count on at least $65 a square foot for that reno. So probably 65 grand. So then from there, if you're buying it for 20 or however you want to work it, you need to factor all that in. And we always want to factor in worst case scenario for these properties so that you don't get left with anything that is bad, right? And if you're wondering how to do that, there's always a link to my book for free below. It walks you through step by step, the checklists and all that sort of stuff. It is a completely free course below in the link. So to grow and scale the business, what's going to happen is you're going to come to a bottleneck of data. you're going to need to go through more data, more information. You want to shake more apples from the tree, you need to shake more trees. So you as a person, maybe it takes you say 15 to 20 minutes to research every property that's going to be on your list. So after a while, you want to go ahead and multiply that, right? You want to be doing hours of research per day. However, that's your bottleneck. So one of the easiest ways to scale this business is to work with virtual assistants and basically create tutorial videos and teach them how to do your research for you. So where do you do that, right? So I like working with virtual assistants in the Philippines. Generally, on average, you can get somebody to be doing research for you for about $2 an hour. And with that, you're able to go ahead and scale much faster. So let's say, for example, we got a question here in the comments. Are you speaking of a specific state? Not at this moment, but I can speak of a specific state for my example here. So, let's go back to Texas, right? 256 counties in Texas. It would take you a long time to be able to research all of that on your own. So what I would do is the best way to scale this is you go and say you want to pick 5 counties that you want to research. So you'll get that list, and then you'll use a service called Loom. I like a service. It's called Loom, or any type of like screen capture recording software. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to do the county research yourself. You're going to pull the property. You're going to do the title research. You're going to find out what's owed on the property, make sure the notices have been sent. And then you're going to add that over to your spreadsheet of properties that you're interested in going to, right? So you're going to go and you're going to do this, but you're going to record yourself, and you're going to basically step by step talk about the instructions. So if it's Harris County, you'd be on there and be like, okay, today we're going to research property in Harris County. I'm looking for properties within my budget of $15,000 to $20,000. So of this list of properties, we want to pull out everything that's a single family home that has an opening bid, say under $10,000. All right. Then you're going to go through that list, and you're just going to work by yourself for say 15, 20 minutes. And then you have a training for that specific county. And then at that point, what you can do is go on a place like onlinejobs.ph, and you can hire a virtual assistant there for just $2 an hour. And then when you bring them on, you give them that training video. And then for yourself, if you know that say in an hour or 2 hours, you can research 6 or 7 properties, they should be able to research a similar amount just following along. So that's how you kind of establish the KPI. And from there, this is the exact way, and one of the most effective ways to scale this business is you need help. Now, some people, maybe they have a niece or a nephew they want to work with, or maybe you're retired and you have lots of time on your hands, but this is really one of the most effective ways to scale. In fact, it's probably one of the only ways to scale the business, is because you need to go through a whole bunch of data. So for example, like there's been times where we'll have like 6 or 7 virtual assistants just researching county data for a whole bunch of different states at one time, because we have our auctions that are coming up, and you have one team, almost like, little task force studying the auction for you. And then from there, they're putting everything into a nice spreadsheet. So you're going to have a master spreadsheet basically with each county in it. And rather than you spending all of your time doing county research, you then have your spreadsheets with the dates, the properties, the comps, and you have your war map coming up of where to go and how to do this stuff. And that's basically how we do it. We always have a spreadsheet with say 20 or 30 different counties in it. And then at any given time, there's a team of virtual assistants doing the research. And then we can pop in and go ahead and do our research there. Now, the other thing is when you're doing this stuff at scale, there's always going to be properties redeeming, right? So you constantly need to be checking and refreshing that list. So that's very manual work. They need to be checking every single day and seeing what properties are coming off the list, so that you're not wasting your time researching or going to bid on properties or driving properties that, are basically no longer there. I've seen that happen a lot of the times. And that's one of the big challenges when it comes to buying lists, is a lot of the times they're not updated efficiently, and you can end up wasting time, which is why a lot of the times I just like to get the list from the county and create a system. So that's one of the best ways to really scale the business, whether it's liens or deeds. So remember with the liens, 1 in 20, you're going to end up with the property, which is great. So same thing with that. You're going to need data, right? So it's going to shake out differently. Say for every, saying for ourselves, if we go to an auction, this is kind of our math. Say we go to an auction, we have 100 properties that we want to go and look at, right? So we have 100 properties we want to go look at. From there, over the course of 2 days, we'll drive, we'll look at 100 properties. Now, the day of that auction, the morning of, I'm going to expect that list, or depending on what day of the week it is, I'm going to expect that list to wind down like 60, 70% at least. So if there's 100 properties, maybe the day of the auction, I have 20 or 30. And then from that, I can expect to pick up a couple. Now, once again, it's going to depend. It's going to be the law of averages. There could be times where I get skunked. Go to an auction, bid on 100, or have 100 to look at. Day of the auction, sometimes they've all been redeemed, which really sucks. But from there, mentally prepare yourself to sometimes get skunked. It's going to happen, but it goes in flows, right? You could go to 2 auctions, maybe not get anything. And then on the 3rd auction, you could get 5 properties, 90% below market value. So, there's that way of scaling it. There's the tax lien way where you could buy 100 tax liens for say $500 a piece. And then you're going to end up with probably 5 properties. And if those $500 properties are worth 50 or 100 grand, you can see how this stuff starts to scale. So I just wanted to kind of lay some groundwork there on scaling this business. So that's one of the best ways to do it. Now, if you guys really want some help with this stuff, like I mentioned, I have a totally free course below. The book walks you through exactly how to start, the pros and cons, the lists that you need. There's an on-demand training as well called Tax Lien and Deed Investing 101. These were DVDs, but they're now on demand because who has a DVD player? But the content is still really, really good. And then from there, if you want my help, we could go ahead. We could build you a custom investing plan. So there's a link below to do that. We'll probably save you, 3 or 4 years of trial and error. And more importantly, we'll save you from making perhaps a costly mistake, because anybody that we work with, we also look at their lists, we look at their data and help them out. So there's a link below to check that out. Once again, thanks a lot, everybody, for hopping on. I always appreciate it. I appreciate the questions. And the goal here is to help you with your tax lien and deed investing. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one.